Hello, everyone. Today is May 10th, and the purpose of today's case meeting is to address the current state and living conditions of our client, Leo. The previous meeting consisted of the client and the case manager discussing how Leo became homeless, his gender and sexual identity, and how COVID-19 has impacted his employment. The client told the case manager that he is trans, and the reason he became homeless is because his parents did not accept his gender identity. When we are discussing Leo's case, we need to use a person-centered approach and a trauma-informed approach. Our client has gone through a lot of trauma due to a transphobic home, and just everything that entails. Trauma-informed care is care that is grounded in and directed through an understanding of the effects of trauma on Leo's life at every intersection. A person-centered approach is a way of thinking that sees Leo's using the health and social services that we provide and find as equal partners. Leo is not above or below us. We are on the same playing field, and he is a partner when we are considering the care that we want to give him. When using this approach, we will be seeking the most adequate level of care and services.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Hanrado, and I am the social worker assigned to this case. Thank you, Corey, our lead facilitator, for leading this interdisciplinary meeting, and I look forward to working with everyone involved in this case. I've been a social worker for 8 years at the MedStar Institute, and this is the first time we have had to make accommodations because of the pandemic. I had the chance to get to know Leo, my client, and while the conversations between us are confidential, I can say that we need to address his mental health and make sure he's getting the care he needs. What I know so far is that Leo is a 20-year-old transgender male moving from one shelter to another and has not been able to hold down a job since the pandemic. Despite facing these travesties, Leo is a bright young man and hasn't yet given up hope. I applaud him for being able to stay strong in unprecedented times. I am also worried as he has shown severe anxiety and depressive symptoms. Aside from his mental health, we need to find him a stable living condition for him to stay in, and as he is part of the LGBTQ plus community, I believe it necessary to find an LGBTQ plus friendly shelter.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexa Perlwin. I'm a certified case manager at New Beginnings Homeless Shelter. I've been a team member at the shelter for about 5 years. At this shelter, we're committed to ensuring safety and security for homeless youth and providing them with necessary resources to assist them in their situation. I'm a member of Leo's care team, and I'm here to assist him and the other members of this meeting in creating a safe and effective care plan. I'm here to answer any questions anyone may have and help prepare a plan for Leo moving forward.
Hi everyone, my name is Caroline. I'm a chronic homelessness expert. Throughout my time in the field, I've seen many human service professionals mistreat individuals experiencing homelessness based on misconceptions that they're lazy or incapable of leading a normal life. The reality for many of these individuals is that the circumstances of their life lead them toward a path where being homeless was a last solution. Instead of perpetuating the invisibility and lack of dignity that is traditionally associated with homelessness, I urge you all to focus on the client's strengths and provide the right resources to fill the gaps where the system has failed him. I'm happy to be here to offer guidance as we develop a plan for Leo.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Jocelyn Casaribius, and I am the client's partner. I am also homeless and have been homeless for about 1 year. Being on the streets for quite a while, I have managed to know exactly where to get the proper resources and how to live life on a daily basis. I approached Leo one day because he was lost. It turns out we have a lot in common and have been inseparable since. I've become a supportive role in his life. We motivate each other every day to make progress to become independent. I finally encouraged Leo to join me to get our GED at an organization called Joy in the Baltimore area. Leo has excelled in each subject. He's very intelligent and performs well in all the assignments. Joy also offers many additional services and accommodations. However, the organization is scarce. Therefore, we both have to seek additional help. Leo has been getting help from healthcare professionals and experts, which has helped him a lot. While I've been getting help from my siblings, I know it hurts him that he barely has supported family members throughout this process, but occasionally his cousin Corday tries to help.
Hey everyone, I'm Corday and I'm Leo's older cousin. I've attended today because I want to help however I can in getting Leo stable and back on her feet. I live in Delaware, so it is hard for me to help because of the distance, but I'm here to see what I can offer and how I can help in this process. Leo and I do not always see eye to eye, but as her family, I still want to help her. I'm excited to be a part of creating an effective care plan for Leo, and I'm grateful that Zoom has made it easier for me to be included in this.
So moving into the administrative information, we are all here to get Leo the best adequate and timely care, but due to the pandemic, the waiting process is longer than we anticipated. Due to the pandemic and COVID-19, there's been a surge of homeless youth, especially LGBTQ homeless youth. The average time that we're looking at for Leo's case is about a month or two, so around July 10th or early August at the latest. Getting Leo access to stable housing and mental health services is imperative when we are thinking about the overall health outcomes that Leo wants. Leo has been through a lot of trauma from his transphobic parents, and youth has gone through a lot of trauma from his transphobic parents and being a homeless LGBTQ youth, and that trauma has impacted his mental health greatly.
As our lead facilitator has stated, it is very important to note that this pandemic has changed the lives of many greatly. In order to maintain social distancing, I've been meeting with clients through glass-covered rooms and via Zoom meetings or through technological means. There's been staffing changes and limited resources of what we can do, which greatly affects our clients and how we can properly advocate for them. With new training to ensure client safety and how we can and extra precautions, the National Association of Social Work has sent a joint letter to the Department of Labor Secretary to ask them to expand telehealth services at all self-insured plans. This will allow them to have access to much needed mental and behavioral services in the COVID-19 national emergency. Through this policy, I'm hoping we'll be able to get Leo ensure his mental health services he needs, as he is able to gain more access to medical needs and resources while he is homeless.
I'd like to take this time to share some of the protocols that the City of Baltimore has developed throughout the pandemic in regard to homelessness. Individuals experiencing homelessness are at greater risk than other populations for developing illnesses, contracting communicable diseases, and experiencing life-threatening complications. So the City of Baltimore has developed various response plans to mitigate risk for individuals experiencing homelessness at this time. Under the city's new discharge protocols, our team is required to find clients experiencing homelessness a safe place to self-isolate if they have COVID at the time of discharge. So if Leo is positive for COVID upon discharge, we may want to make use of the services offered by Healthcare for the Homeless at the Lord Baltimore Hotel. They're providing a place for people without homes to safely isolate. If he does not have COVID at the time of discharge, it is our responsibility under these protocols to coordinate discharge to an emergency shelter or another housing location.
Transitioning, so we're going to transition into the homeless and hospitalization utilization piece of this meeting. Based on his previous experiences, he is hesitant to get treatment from hospitals. Leo wants to get help, but he's just very scarred. Research shows that at least about 1/3 of trans folks have negative experiences with their healthcare providers, things ranging from verbal harassment to refusing medical care, misgendering, dead naming, trans folks, et cetera, et cetera. When I spoke with Leo and his partner Jocelyn, they both had horrid experiences due to transphobia, homophobia, and just lack of care. Jocelyn is here with us, so I will let her explain what has been going on.
So as mentioned, our encounters with the hospital and medical professionals have not been the best because of our appearance and the status of being homeless. The doctors and nurses are always misgendering Leo after telling them our proper pronouns. It makes him feel unwanted being in a place where he's not respected nor treated fairly. Another barrier is that many healthcare providers and hospitals need proof of insurance or identification, which neither of us possess. Therefore, not only does it make the process even more difficult, but it also has resulted in him being even more hesitant and scared to ask for treatment, different types of therapy, or certain procedures to fully transition to a male because of the past experience of stigmatism and discrimination in the hospital and healthcare setting. Despite his poor interactions with the facility at the hospital, he's still adamant about wanting to transition and doesn't let the past experience hide who he truly wants to be. Leo has expressed numerous times that he does not feel comfortable in his body and feels trapped.
I really wish that I could be more of a help here as far as finding Leo housing and stuff. But unfortunately, as I said before, Leo and I do not always see eye to eye. And I believe that it would be best if she did not live with me, but in another form of temporary housing. I don't agree with Leo being trans. And I believe that our differences in lifestyle may cause more issues if living together. I can help with with getting the housing situation figured out and assisting in any other way that I can to assure that she has somewhere safe and stable to live. So please just let me know if there are any resources that I can reach out to or whatever else I can do to help.
Well, I want to thank you for being here, but I also want to acknowledge that you misgendered Leo. When we're having this meeting, it's very person-centered, and the person that we are centering is Leo. And I understand that you may not agree with Leo being trans, but it's not a lifestyle, one, and his pronouns are he, him. So I'm appreciative, and we are all appreciative that you are here, but really hone in on that person-centered approach when we're thinking about Leo moving forward.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to be better about that.
All right, thank you, Corey, for pointing that out. Throughout my conversations with him, Leo has shown great strength and continues to smile through these hard times. Honestly, it is very amazing how he has been able to endure what life has thrown at him. But I have also noticed that he has shown clear signs of anxiety, depression whenever we talk about his parents and his home life. I believe he needs to seek professional help at the Flourish Counseling Center, and I'd like him to set up a consultation with Dr. Dixon and work on self care and his mental health. Dr. Dixon is a very trusted employer who works hard to respect and work with LGBTQ individuals. Aside from his partner, he has no support from his family, and I think opening up to someone can prevent further negative effects. In fact, it might even be helpful if his cousin or his family members attend family therapy in the upcoming future. But before we can consider that, our top priority is Leo's mental health.
So since I can't help as far as Leo living with me, I'm definitely willing to attend as many therapy sessions as I'm available for. I do want to see Leo do well and be better. Her mental health is really important to me, and I just want to see her be okay. I'll also try and keep the lines of communication open with the rest of our family, especially Leo's parents. So does anybody know how the homeless shelter placement works?
So as for the homeless shelter within the Baltimore area, they're mostly based on first come, first serve, or you have to apply to get accepted, which can take a couple of days or weeks. All shelters are different, but they provide us with the necessities that we need, such as food, clothing, showers, laundry, and etc., which is extremely helpful for both our physical and mental well-being. However, it is also very difficult to land a spot at the shelter since the pandemic, where shelters have limited the amount of people that come in and out. However, what they all have in common is that they're just temporary living conditions. Leo being in the midst of a transition puts him at high risk for violence and harassment. So therefore, finding something a little bit more reliable and stable besides a shelter would be better for his safety.
Okay, so moving into the care transition concerns, although Leo has gone through a lot and has a lot of trauma, his trauma does not define him. When talking with Leo, I noticed how bright his spirit was. He is always lending a hand, offering to help, etc., etc. Leo has been living in homeless shelters, and it has not been the best experience for him, especially because he is trans and he had some challenging experiences around that. Some of the things that Leo wants specifically is housing with other LGBTQ folks. And he would also like to have housing that is connected to some type of work and school program so he can obtain his GED and later on pursue other academic and career goals.
I'm aware that Leo has been relying on homeless shelters for a place to live. Although these shelters may assist him temporarily, I have concerns about Leo residing in a homeless shelter long term. Due to the pandemic and social distancing protocols, space is limited in New Beginnings Homeless Shelter as well as many other shelters. The pandemic also poses threats to the health of homeless shelter residents. Since similar to most shelters, we're only able to offer communal spaces. These spaces are sanitized many times each day, but with many residents coming in and out of the shelter, we cannot ensure that all areas are completely sanitary at all times. Aside from the effects of the pandemic, I have other concerns about Leo continuing to reside in homeless shelters. Being part of the LGBTQ plus community, there's additional struggles that he has faced, and he will continue to face if he's not offered an accepting and stable living condition. Although we try our best to make our residents feel safe and comfortable in these shelters, there's only so much we can do to avoid violence and discrimination by other residents. We're currently working on resolving this issue. However, at this time, I don't think it's the best option for Leo to continue residing in homeless shelters.
As we all know, improved personal hygiene and frequent hand washing have been strongly encouraged since the beginning of the pandemic. Individuals experiencing homelessness who live outside typically have limited access to basic hygiene items like soap and water, and are also vulnerable to poor or painful sleeping conditions. Despite all that, the CDC, has suggested that individuals experiencing homelessness during the pandemic may be better served on the streets than in shelters because outdoor settings allow for increased physical distance. While that might be true, I think that shelters present additional challenges that are worth considering in our plan for Leah's housing. People living in homeless shelters are typically in very close quarters and share communal meals and bathing facilities. Also, like Lexi said, there are additional concerns for LGBTQ individuals experiencing homelessness, as they are often at increased risk of violence and abuse, especially in shelters. When you consider all of this, it's clear that Leo's physical and emotional safety may be compromised in a shelter, so it's my professional recommendation as a homelessness expert that we do our very best to coordinate housing that removes Leo from the streets and keeps him out of shelters.
Thank you, Caroline and Lexi, for sharing your expert knowledge about chronic homelessness, and I understand your concerns. However, as we transition our case to make sure Leo will be able to live in stable living environment and work on his mental health, I have found an LGBTQ plus homeless shelter program that is willing to let Leo stay with them for a period of time. I understand your concerns about social distancing, but Casa Ruby does provide housing services, preventive health, and social services for LGBTQ plus homeless youth, which I believe Leo would fit right into. They are taking the precautions to stay COVID friendly, and I'm also working with them to help maintain that. I'm working with their social services to put Leo in the transitional living program to guarantee stable housing and support services for up to 18 months. This program requires members to complete 35 hours devoted to personal improvement, which can be combined with a school or employment program that helps them create a financial plan and stability to thrive. I will work with the program advisors to set a time where Leo can move into Casa Ruby and make sure that they are taking their precautions to not spread the virus any longer.
So moving into next steps, based on the services that are available and best aligns with what Leo wants for himself, we will be moving forward with finding him stable housing by June or July 10th, or the latest early August because of the pandemic. And until then, we can place him into a temporary shelter specifically for LGBTQ youth. The next step is also finding affordable and or free health insurance. With this health insurance, we can begin to look for therapists and hormone replacement therapy treatments for Leo. But before we do all of these plans, the social worker needs to run the care plan past Leo to make sure that it aligns best with what he wants to do and the type of care that he wants to receive moving forward.
Just before moving on to the case manager, I just wanted to say that I can help coordinate transportation for Leo to get to her appointments. I can get her an MTA bus card so that she doesn't have to worry about how to get around. I can put money on it regularly so that she knows she always has a means of transportation.
In regard to Leo moving into Casa Ruby, I can get in contact with a colleague of mine who works there to see when he would be able to move in or if it's a good fit for him. Here they help residents partner with jobs and help them find more permanent housing when they're ready to move on.
Thank you again, Corey and Lexi, for providing extensive information and services for our clients. By May 24th, Leo will be able to access free health insurance under the free healthcare for homeless at the medical clinic in Baltimore. This will allow him to visit Dr. Dixon in the upcoming weeks and settle a schedule where he can come in for his therapy sessions once a week for the next 2 months. As a social worker, I plan on continuing working with Leo for as long as he needs before being able to support himself and get his ideas on what we should do next. So as we prepare for the next meeting, I will continue to build this relationship with Leo, as I believe he will fare well with Dr. Dixon at the Flourish Counseling Center. By the next meeting, I will also work with Lexi and prepare him to apply for the free health insurance needed for him to attend counseling and have him ready to stay at Casa Ruby.
So for the next meeting, Leo and I will continue to attend GED classes at Joy and hopefully start preparing for our GED exam, which is around mid-June, as well as continue being a supportive role by encouraging and motivating him to get help from human service professionals or find ways to get help whenever he feels upset or stressed.
I think that today we really made some great decisions in helping Leo move forward, and I really do appreciate all the time and effort you guys have put into helping her. The goals set by Jen and Jocelyn for the next meeting are attainable and great strides in the right direction to getting Leo back on track. I'll keep everybody posted and in the loop on getting more family involved in this matter, and I just want to thank you all.
Moving forward, we will continue to use this care model when we are addressing Leo's needs. It is imperative that we uplift him in every single capacity that is possible and focus on his strengths and the things that we can provide for and to him. Thank you all so much for coming to this meeting, and I am excited to be working with you all.